Hi, welcome back everybody. Okay, in this video, which is video 3 in the series of how to set the car up, and in this example we're doing so in the garage of the racing game. Here we have a vehicle, and in the last tutorial we did some work on the chassis. Okay, and today what we're going to do is finish off this tyre window, and we're going to make our tyres get fatter or thinner, okay, or wider, and that's the purpose of today. All right, now just to explain why we jumped into the chassis before we came to finish this off. It's because we want to see how wide we can make our wheels before they start to crash into the chassis and obviously start to clip it, and it starts to look not so good. All right, so just to show you, here we have a vehicle and we have a window, and we're going to be working on this slider right here, and it will remember our settings. Okay, great. So first things first, in our window, which is our main window here, we have a window inside that which is called the window tyre. Okay, and inside here, as before in the previous two videos, or the first video, we did the sliders for the front grip and the rear grip. So we've done these two, and now we're down here, and this window, this is called slider wheel width. So you make a slider, okay, and in here we've set the minimum value to 1, so it's the width of the wheel is 1 and the maximum width is 3. Okay, and just so as when you set these sliders up, it's best to see if they're actually working or not. Okay, and the way we can do that is to have a look over here. All right, great. Okay, so how do we get these wheels to get wider and narrower? Okay, and the answer is we need to make a script. So what I've done is I've made a script and I've attached it to the bottom of our car manager, and the one we're interested in here is called wheel width slider. Okay, we don't need the car set up for this tutorial. We're going to focus on this new script called wheel width slider. Okay, so let's have a look at this script, and I'll let you do a screenshot and I'll explain what it does. So if you take a screenshot of this, okay, great, and it's this one over here. Good. So let me talk you through this script. So what we're going to do, is first of all, this slider that we've just made over here, okay, this one down here, we drop it in here at the top. Okay, so there's your slider, and then we've made a float, which is the wheel width. All right, and then we've made this public transform, which is like an array or a collection of all the wheels. All right, and inside there you can type in how many wheels you've got. I've put wheels 4, I get 4 here, and quite simply you drop your wheels, you drop each of these Skycar wheels, because we're using the Skycar from standard assets. Alright, so that everybody can do this tutorial, and for each one of those we drop into here. Okay, now let's have a look at this wheel. Inside this wheel here, this is actually, we have the position, which we said needs to match up to the positions of the wheel hubs. Alright, so they all correlate. And if we look at this front wheel here, we can see that we have quite simply here the scale, and it's the scale that we're going to be messing with, and in particular we're going to be messing with the X. So you see, as this X moves, the wheel gets wider or narrower, okay, depending on the value. So the default is 1, scale is 1, and we're going to change that through script using our slider. Okay, so come back to our script, move it back into the middle where we can see it, and what we're going to do here basically is we are going to, in the start, we are going to go to player prefs, because we're saving all our values in player prefs in this demo game, and we basically, when we start the game up like fresh install, when we go to that value, it's going to come out at 0. Okay, so we don't want a wheel width of 0, so we'll say if the wheel width is less than 1, which is the standard value, and it's also the value we've got over here. Okay, and as you can see in our Skycar wheel, it's also 1. Okay, if it's less than 1, we're going to make it 1. Alright, so for the first install, we're going to have the wheel size of 1. Alright, great. Now it says here for each. Alright, so for each of all these transform wheel in wheels, because this is the transform, we want to change the scale of the X value, the scale in the transform. For each transform wheel in wheels, which is this collection of wheels, this array of wheels that we've got over here, which is on the car manager, for each of these wheels we are going to make the wheel transform local scale for each one of those in turn, one after the other. We're going to make this wheel width, which is the X, a new value, and we're going to leave Y and Z at 1. Okay, so we're not going to change these other two. We're only going to mess around with the width, right? Which in this case is the X scale. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set the slider to wheel width. All right, wheel width is obviously the value that we've got in player prefs, and then we're going to add a listener. In the first tutorial I mentioned listeners. Okay, this is another listener for those new to listeners. Basically, this is a way for us to find out if the player has moved or changed the value of the slider. Okay, so it says here, basically it says if the value of the wheel width slider has changed, then do something, right? And what do? Well, you run this function here called value change check. Right, so what are we doing there? Well, first of all, wheel width is equal to the wheel width slider value, because we know the slider value has changed, so now we've got a new wheel width, and again we run this again, which is the same as this. Okay, for each of the wheel in this array of wheels, we are going to set the X value here to the new value, which is the value on the slider. Okay, then we're going to save that new value in player prefs, so that next time we start the game it will remember the width of our tyre correctly. Okay, and that's all that does. Alright, brilliant. So let's have a look at this and see what happens. So I'm going to choose the Skycar wheel here once. Okay, this we can get all these, grab all these wheels. We'll see if it works. So I hit play, and as you can see up here, we've got a value of 2.15. That's the width of our wheel now. Okay, that correlates to the wheel width slider value of 2.15. So they're the same. Okay, slider value is the same as the scale value in the transform. So it works. Alright, so let's just do one more test. So if we make these wheels this big and then we stop the game, we'll see if it remembers it. Okay, so it's 1.4, scale is 1.4, and again it's 1.4, so it's all working. Alright, and it's as simple as that. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope you learnt something, and yeah, please subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.